Hello and welcome to another edition of beginner's mistakes that every beginner makes. We're on our 8th mistake here, which is underestimating your opponent's threats. Now we're going to be looking at 8 examples of threats that your opponent makes and how you should best not ignore them, basically. So these are basically 8 puzzles. They're going to be kind of advanced, especially for a beginner, but it highlights the notion of why you shouldn't underestimate your threats. So let's look at the first position here. Black's to move here. Let's look at white's threat. It looks like a very standard position. Like you could throw a check here, but the queen's going to gobble it up. Can't really move your knights here. You could take here, but the queen's going to be taking here, but you are also guarded by the knight. So black makes the move over here of queen to a5, throwing a check on the king. The reason why this is a bad move for black, does anybody see it? b4, chess on track, gets it perfectly, pushes up to b4 here, can't take back because of the knight, and now white can go on the offense. So after they take with the pawn, what can white do here to win the game? There is a mate in 3 here. What can white do to win? Take the bishop. Interesting. That is part of it, Chess Logie Bear. But the actual move is queen to h7 here, putting the king in check and sacking the queen. After they take, you then take the bishop. And then once the king comes back here, you throw in the e7 knight move for the checkmate. So that is the first example of don't underestimate your opponent's threats. What seemed like a pretty innocuous position was ruined by this queen to a5 move here. So that's it for the first example. Let's look at the second example now. We have black's position here. He moves up the rook here, looking to attack this king side, but also forking the queen and the knight here. So he's thinking they're going to have the free knight. What is the move here for white to take advantage of this? Queen to h6. Okay. Queen to h6 is not the move. There is a sack though. G pawn is pinned. Bishop to f6 then. Yep. Chess on track gets it. So after bishop to f6, the rook takes the queen, but white has this nice little check here on g7, causing the king to go back. And after throwing the rook check here, it is checkmate because after the king takes, it is checkmate there. And after the rook, there it is. Checkmate, folks. Well, you have that. That's checkmate. Another innocuous position ruined by the greed of the rook and black here. But not really overestimating what are the moves that could happen. You should be aware of all the different possibilities. Try to calculate that before. I know, as an intermediate player, I do this all the time too. I think maybe 1 or 2 moves ahead, and it usually leads to my demise. That was number 2. Let's look at example number 3 here. Black is looking to barrel down here and get checkmate here. So white does the normal thing of, let's look at g3, stopping this attack. We can't get this queen in, so he'll have to take at least another move. Why is this a problem? Does anybody know? Knight to f2 is not the move. Anybody have a better one? I'll give you a hint. It is with the queen, and it is queen to g5. No, it is actually, nope, it's not rook to h2 either. Queen to h4, chess on track, it gets it right yet again. It's sacking the queen either way because it doesn't matter. After the pawn takes, the rook puts you in check. The only way out of this is the queen has to basically offer themselves up as sacrifice. And after they take, queen comes back, and you got checkmate there. So that was example number 3. We're looking at example number 4 here. This is the position. Black comes down here, putting the king in check. What is the move here? I mean, I think this is doomed for white either way. So black is exploiting the weakness. So after taking, rook takes on e1. You then push the pawn, and the queen comes, takes the bishop after the discovered check, because then they take the queen, and after that you take the 2 rooks and you're at mate in 13, but this game is basically over if you're white. So example 4, very straightforward. All right, so we're looking here, black's move here. Let's look at the position before we show the black's move. Queen, it looks like white's definitely the one attacking here, but it's a pretty even position. Black moves knight to g6 to try to kick out this knight, but that basically spells disaster for black, because after that, the queen sack here on f7. You can't take the rook here. The reason being is if the rook takes, you have the rook check here, and it's checkmate because the knight is covering the escape square. So the knight has to come over here to try to defend. Rook comes up anyways, and after the queen throws in a check, the king hides here. Queen throws in another check, and after the king retreats here, there's literally nowhere else to go. Checkmate's coming up in 14, but at this point, it's such a commanding lead for white. After sacking the rook, you get both pieces and you're up a whole piece. Actually, if we sack the rook, they take here, that's checkmate. So black resigns in this position. That's it for the 5th example. 6th example here. All right, so we're here. Top move is the rook comes over here looking to get this check here on the king. But what is the issue here is there is an issue here. How can black exploit this and turn it into a win for them? So the move here is Black goes rook to f8. The reason being, they're thinking maybe you can't take here because after the rook takes there and the pawn takes, you have checkmate there. So the rook comes over here to f8, looking to maybe trade off. But the queen just throws the king in check. And after they come out, the trades come down and it's checkmate with the knight covering the escape squares here. That is example number 6. Example number 7 here. White is in this position. White is to move. They move bishop to f6, looking to get a check here. Is there anything black can really do? Probably not. So they take the queen thinking that they have a great position. But white has this deadly move, and it just shows how deadly this combination is because the king only has one escape square back and forth. So what white does is they just gobble up every piece in the book. Not just even taking the queen, like the normal first step was taking a pawn and a bishop down with it. And at this point, white takes a huge advantage. All right, so example 7. Last example here, we're gonna look at a game and we'll show kind of the position that we get to where the opponent underestimates their opponent's position. And that is actually right here. So we're in this position here and black makes the move c6. And why is this a terrible position? The reason being is this bishop, it's stuck there for a while. And so black is gonna only be able to castle queen side, and that leaves them susceptible to a lot of different attacks. So we see here that the king moves over, trying to protect itself from any attack. h6 should kick the bishop out. Bishop retreats. Black then castles. And this is where things go south. Can anyone figure out what is the best move for white here? Queen to a6 is correct. Chess on track. After pushing here, you cannot take there because you have checkmate here. So queen goes to a6. The knight comes out here attacking the bishop, trying to remove one of the attackers of the escape square. But with queen to c6 check, all you can do is take and you get checkmate there either way. So what looked like a pretty innocuous position once castling led to black's downfall with a nice queen to a6 move. So the moral of the story, think of 2 or 3 moves ahead when you're playing your opponent. Try to think of all the different attacking options that they have, even the most crazy ones like someone throwing away a queen. It could spell the end of your chess game and your chess career. So if you like that video, please like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also follow me at Twitch at twitch.tv/ZachSlagowski, where I play viewers and go over all these chess openings and just play the game of chess. Our next video will be going over the 9th mistake. That'll be here. We'll see you then, and you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.